morning, welcome to Scotland. So we're on our way up to a place called Roy's Bridge, which is about an hour north. So we're going to go up there, but this is Glencoe and I thought it'd be wrong not to stop. So this is the Glencoe ski centres that way, and this is Black Rock Cottage, which I have photographed before in, to be fair, in better light, but I couldn't resist it. I mean, I just absolutely love this scene. It's beautiful, but we have got some mist in one of the Three Sisters there. I think that's the Buckle, which we're going to go and have a look at in a moment. There's this shot, there's a shot at Glen Etive with the waterfall, which I've shot before but not so well, so I'm hoping to get a better shot of that today. And then we're going to go down Glen Etive, which is a valley, and the Glen Etive mountain range is over to my left here, and normally we find deer, and there's some beautiful trees, and the trees around here have got the lovely moss hanging off them, so an absolutely brilliant place to go. Hopefully we're going to get some stuff up at Roy's Bridge, which I've not been to before. This is a new area. I've got 4 days up here, which I'm really looking forward to. So there we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Beautiful day.
Isn't it gorgeous? That was a long conversation. A lovely lady staying here at the Scottish Ladies Climbing Club in this little building. So she said her husband's not been very well, he's hurt his knee, so they're not going to climb today. But I'm here for 4 days, so I'm really looking forward to this. Right, so I'm going to shoot this. I'm still going to use my panoramic format, you know. I think I'll have a little go at that. Even with the light not being brilliant, and there's no snow on top of the Buckle, which normally in November you'd expect, but we've had such a mild summer, as I've said before, that the weather's not really coming in. I've got a forecast of a little bit of snow later on, so I'm really hoping it might fall tomorrow. That would be great. So I'll shoot that Black Rock Cottage. I'll show you the picture, and I'll also show you the picture I took last time I was here, which was a couple of years ago, where the light was moodier, darker, and I think probably better, but it'll be nice to compare both pictures. So I'll shoot that now, and back to the car, and next time I see you will be at Glen Etive. Look! So that is the first of the Three Sisters in Glencoe. It's called Glen Etive Moor, also known as the Buckle, and look at this lovely waterfall. Now, as you've seen, the road's closed. I normally park just over there. This is incredibly muddy, and this is what is known as a hotspot. And if you haven't seen my video about should you photograph hotspots, I'll put a link to it up there and on the back of this video to have a look at. But if you forgive me, a lot of my viewers, I know a lot of my viewers, they talk to me and write to me and email me. A lot of my viewers aren't necessarily photographers and won't have seen this, so it's a great thing to photograph. It's a nice thing to enjoy, I think, when you're watching. So I'm going to shoot this. I mean, I really enjoy photographing this. I've photographed it a few times before. I still don't feel like I've got a proper picture. Last time I came here, it was raining. I used a 10-stop neutral density, which didn't really work brilliantly. At the time I thought it was, but it didn't. The water was just too blurry, and actually I got a little bit distracted between this. If you have a look now, you can see this swirly bit. I was hoping to make a circle and having it as one of the elements in a triangle, but in actual fact it just became a picture that really didn't know where to look. So as we're going past, even though the road's closed, I wanted to show my wife this place, and I'm going to photograph it anyway. Now, I'm not quite 100% sure whether I'm going to get this waterfall and the top of the Buckle in with the lens that I've got for my GFX. So I've got the XT4 with me, and what I might have to do is put the ultra wide 10 to 24 on just to get it in. But I'm going to get down lower, hopefully without falling over, because it's incredibly slippery. I'm wearing my wellies, and we'll try and get some pictures from here. But the light on that mountain is absolutely gorgeous, or it has been. It's kind of gone a little bit, but what seems to be in the buckle is little bits of I don't know what rock it would be, but it seems to almost glitter like silver. It's really lovely. It really shows up nicely. Don't know whether, looks like it's granite, to be honest, but if the light catches it in a certain direction, it kind of glitters and it looks very magical. And with this lovely waterfall here, the base of it just is a lovely picture. I don't know whether you can see, actually you can, but kind of we've got a shape here, so there's almost like it's like a triangle going on, up and then back down to that bit there. So that's kind of the composition. You can't really fail here. Well, I suppose you can. We're probably about to show you that, but this tree over here I really like, little silver birch. It's going to stick up over the horizon, but there's not much I can do about that without getting really high. And there's a lovely tree at the other side of the river, which has got this lovely green moss on it. And up in Scotland, I absolutely love that. It gets so much rain that I think the moss just hangs off the branches. So I was actually quite looking forward to going down the Glen Etive Valley, which is behind me, because there's some really lovely woodland down there. But the road's closed. I think they're doing some work right at the end. So needs must, can't do that. So what we're going to do is photograph here, which I'll talk you through in a second, and then I know of a pub just up that way where we can have a bit of lunch. But I mean, the conditions not ideal, but actually there are some clouds here coming over, and they do say in Scotland, if you haven't got the right light, wait 10 minutes and then you will have. And I've been up here before, I know that I've had snow, rain and sun all in the same day. So right, let's have a look, see what we get. I'll talk you through the composition in a second. So, okay, here we are. It's a little bit muddy. I'll be very careful not to lose my wellies down here. But shoot that and I'll talk you through it. What we've got, the bottom right hand corner of the composition, got this little bit of water here. I'm using a 2 second, it's a half a second exposure, which is perfect really. Shut down to f16. I might do, in fact I will do, in fact if I go down to f22, that's going to give me a longer exposure, which will blur the water a bit more. We've done lots of long exposure photography before. Let's just see what that looks like. 2 second timer, yeah, 2 seconds, and that's now blurred that, so that looks lovely. Got that tree in, these rocks and the buckle, which has got no light on it whatsoever. I've got a polarizer on, which is darkening the sky, but actually over to the left there, I don't know whether you can see it from where you are, but there's some really lovely clouds coming over. So I'm going to wait here now for a few minutes, just to wait for that to come over. The other thing that I've got on top is a 3-stop grad, and that's going to just hold the sky back. When I first set this up, the sky was looking too light. I might not actually need it in a second when these clouds come over. But we're going to have a little experiment with it. In fact, I don't think I do, you know. Might look better without it, which I prefer really. Don't really want to use a grad if I don't have to, because it's going to make it look too dark and it doesn't really suit. Now this is a lens equivalent to about 28mm. Possibly could do with something a little bit wider, but actually it works okay. I don't mind it at all. I'm going to stick that in my pocket here. The thing with these kind of photographies, you've always just got to be, you've got to have your hands and 3 or 4 pairs of hands, but actually that looks really nice. So I've just moved the camera slightly to the left because I want to get more of that tree in. So I've got a nice triangle now going in from the waterfall, along the waterfall to the tree, up to the buckle and then back down. So this tree just going to appear in the corner. I actually don't think it's going to appear at all, so I'm completely cutting that out, and I'm really happy with that. I'm actually focusing on that rock there, which is a third of the way around along, which I don't think I'm going to need to focus that because I'm on f22 and I'm not that close to the foreground. So let's just wait for that cloud to come over. There's some lovely dark blues there, and then we've got a hint of rain. I think it's raining over there in the distance, and that will just cover up the corner of the buckle and make it appear a little bit moody. This bit of blue sky here, don't really like, so I want that out of the picture. So let me shoot that, and then I'll show you what I get. I'll put that in this little segment now. Time to put the gloves on. We're at Loch Leven, and just up there, that's called the Pap of Glencoe. We've just driven through Glencoe. It's absolutely beautiful. Very, very still, very, very calm. A lovely day, and I've shot this location before because the very first time I came up to Scotland I stayed at Ballachulis, which is that way, which is north of Glencoe, and we photographed Loch Leven from the other end, but I've been up here subsequently and wanted to get a photograph of the Pap from this side, and I remember this little place here. So along this, as you can see, along the shoreline, this is all slate. It's amazing, just laying on the beach. It's a bit slippery but not too bad, and conditions looking really nice. Some nice fluffy clouds. Now we've got about an hour to go to sunset, so I don't think I'm going to shoot sunset here because I need to get to the holiday home to see whereabouts I am. Maybe sort out something for tomorrow for sunrise, but it was too good an opportunity to not shoot this, so I thought I'd come and have a go at it anyway. Lovely. So there's a nice island here, and then that bit of the loch goes through towards Glencoe, and it goes on that way for a long, long while. And there's a bridge there, goes over to, I think, Fort Williams to the left, and there's another bridge that goes off towards Oban, which is just beautiful. Just the most peaceful, lovely day. Middle of November. I have got the gloves on, but not that cold. I've been here before and it's been howling. There's been snow on the top, but the mountains, there's a little bit of snow on some of the peaks, but we haven't really had any proper weather. Anyway, the shot, because the water is moving a little bit, if I just step to one side you can see it. Going to need to blur that, so we're going to need a longer shutter speed. I mean, the clouds and the lake and the loch, pretty much even as far as exposures are concerned, so I will put a polarizer on to get rid of the reflection. It will also darken down the sky, and then we'll see what exposure we've got shooting something like f/22. If the exposure is not long enough to blur the water, then I'll have to use a little stopper or something like that on the front. But just really, really enjoying this. It's just beautiful, and if you get a chance to come to Scotland, then you really should. Right, let's get the camera set up, and as usual I'll talk you through it. We're all set up. We're going to go for a portrait of this. what I've looked for, which I look for quite a lot, is a curve that takes us round. So I've got the camera right on the edge of where the loch is. It's a little bit slippery, so I'll be careful. I've got the walking boots on, which give me a bit of stability. Make sure the tripod's really still, and then put the camera on. Exposure wise, I'm getting a 1.3 seconds at f22, which actually I'm quite happy with. F22 should get everything in focus. So in the foreground here, which you can't possibly see from there, I don't know, there's some nice brown seaweed, and then the slate goes along and takes us into the Papa Glencoe, and I've also got a little bit of this island in, and then the valley beyond, so it kind of leads the eye around from the right. So again, we've got this triangle effect, so curvy round, up the Pap, across, and the eye goes back here. So the only thing I could have done with really is something in the water to the left, but there is an island there, and because I'm quite low down, I've kept out a lot of that water. If I had the tripod high, then we would see a lot more of the water, and I don't really want that. So actually that bit of negative space, is that the right word for it? This space has nothing in it basically, it's actually minimal. So let's have a go at that. This histogram is looking quite spread out. 2-second timer, and that looks fine. So if I look at the image, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to zoom in to make sure that things looking sharp. I can use the screen for that. Oh, it's a bit difficult. Oh dear. Actually, it's not too bad. I might just need to do another one with it slightly closer. I'm not sure that's totally in focus, that first bit of slate. Let's have another little go then. So I'm going to focus up further in. Out there, that should definitely do it. 1.3 seconds still, 2-second exposure, but we're definitely getting the water blurred now. That exposure is fine for that, really lovely. Wouldn't say the light's fantastic. I mean, it is about 3 in the afternoon, so we've got another hour or so to go, but it actually might make a really nice monochrome. Not so sure. I'm just thinking now about whether I need to have a grad over the sky, because the sky is looking a lot lighter on here than it does in front of me. So flick the polar, so the polarizer is getting rid of that reflection, but it's not doing much for the sky at all. So if I have the polarizer there, the sky is better, but I've got reflections in the water, and I'd probably rather have less reflections in the water and put a grad on. So let's do that, and then we'll see what we get. 3-stop grad on, and that is looking a lot better. Looks a little bit dark, but I'm just going to push the highlights a little bit so we've got the highlights in. So I've got lots of stuff in these dark rich shadows here. Because the slate's is absorbing the light, I don't want some of the blacks to block. I'd like to get this seaweed showing up. So now I've tilted the camera quite the way forward, so the Pap at Glencoe is just showing at the top. The sky is not particularly interesting, so I've cut a lot of it out. We've got a polarizer on the front, which is taking the glare off this seaweed, these little bits of slate, and also the loch in front of us. I've just been playing with getting that looking the best it can, and that is the best. It's really only affecting this area down here, but that's quite interesting. I'm actually focused on this near bit of slate, because if the Pap slate out of focus is not a problem, because as I say, that's not really the interest in the shot. This is this curve that I'm looking at. Now by using the 3-stop grad and the polarizer, I've now got 3-second exposure. Got some flashing zebras in the sky, which means it's still a little bit bright, and the way I look at that is just to put the grad up and down, and that's probably, I don't want it to go too far over the Pap, although I can easily take it out now in Lightroom, just lighten up a little bit. That's fine. There's a little spike to the right on the highlights, but I think on a raw file I'll be able to bring that back. I might just bracket it just to make sure. So there we go, that should be a 3-second exposure. That's going to blur that water, make it very smooth, which it has. So that's really lovely. And what I want to do now is just adjust the aperture so that I've got the clouds there's no highlights in the sky whatsoever, so that's giving me F26. Let's go up to F22, sort of just actually F22 now, that's not showing at all, so it may have got a little bit darker over on the horizon there. That is going to be fine. Really sure about that. That looks lovely. Good stuff. So I think that looks okay. Now, it's been a good day today. We're only really driving up to our holiday location, so we're not actually there yet, but I thought I couldn't resist stopping at these 3 locations because I've been all 3 of them before, some of them several times. Oh, I think there was a little bit of snow there. That's exciting because it would look lovely, so let's hope so. So we're going to stop here. I'm going to go up to the Highlands, which is that way. We're going to carry on our journey, find the holiday house, get everything settled in, get everything charged up, and then we'll have a look at some sunrise and sunset locations for the next few days. So next week I will be somewhere else in the Highlands, which I hope you can join me for. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps the channel out immensely. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Getting on about a quarter of the way there, so please tell your friends. Until next week then, thanks for tuning in. Goodbye. Look at that. If you're stressed at work, or stressed in life, I guess, just come out and stand by a loch. How peaceful is that? What a lovely place we live in.